Do you think there's a difference between Twitter's definition of free speech and Elon's definition of free speech?
Twitter does not believe in free speech.
What do you
Elon
mean?
believes in free speech.
Wow, what a fantastic way to start the interview. Exactly what they deny in public is what they admit doing behind closed doors.
How does Twitter not believe in free speech?
Because Twitter wants to censor bullying and harassment. And the idea of free speech is that you can bully and harass people. And Twitter does not believe in this value as a platform because it's not conducive to a business. If you want to run a business, like even Facebook or Instagram, they don't want people bullying and harassing, or even YouTube. They straight up, any toxic behavior, they're like, nope.
That is unbelievably rich coming from the platform renowned for destroying people's lives. I mean, you can organize a campaign on Twitter and try to get someone fired by calling their boss, by unearthing ancient tweets and sparking outrage. You can take down the business of a corporation, and all of this is permissible. It's not considered harassment or bullying. Sleeping Giants, the terrorist organization, does that all the time. I mean, they're trying to contact the advertisers of Tucker Carlson in order to make him lose financial profit because of his takes and because of what he says on cable. Twitter is fine with that. So the notion that, oh, well, we don't like harassment and bullying, no, I don't buy it for a second. And the fact that it's not good for business, up until 2016, Twitter seemed to have a business without doing any of this bullshit. And even further, I would say that is how Twitter actually managed to grow as a platform. Like, they literally said, it's like, hey, welcome to our platform. You get to talk truth to power. But apparently now it's not good for business.
A transgender. The right thinks it's okay. The left does not. Ideologically, it does not make sense. Like, because we're actually censoring the right, not the left. Because everyone on the right wing will be like, bro, it's okay to say, you just gotta tolerate it. The left will be like, no, I'm not gonna tolerate it. I need it censored, or else I'm not gonna be on the platform.
This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying on this channel for years. For years I've been saying this. And for years I've been pointing it out. And do you know which were the most likely people to call me out and contradict me? People on the right. People on the right. Oh, but like, no, we have to tolerate. We have to. No, you don't. Honestly, I think the best euphemism that I have for this, imagine if it's World War II and you're in England, London is getting bombed by the Nazis, and you have this guy which is saying, I don't know what an anti-aircraft gun is. I don't want to fly an airplane. I just want the Nazis to stop bombing. It's like, look, dude, I understand your utopian thinking. In a perfect world, yes. But until both sides come to the table and both sides agree to some principles, there's no point. You're not going to be pacifistic about this and be allowed to remain on platforms when the other side is admittingly not tolerant. Like, they're not going to tolerate your shit. Anything that contradicts them, they're not going to tolerate. The reason they're like this is because their ideology cannot exist in the open marketplace of ideas. Their entire ideology can be laughed at within 5 minutes. The concept that, like, the government should take away your shit and then redistribute it equally is laughable. Right? Like, the idea that they cannot even have the definition of a woman is laughable. They're erasing women, literally. The Supreme Court Justice nominee cannot define what a woman is. Why is it that every other nation on earth can define what a woman is, just not the United States? Like, can we not have some retrospect? Like, you don't even need to talk about it. You just laugh at it. You just laugh, right? So let's talk about the fact that, oh, well, the right believes you can bully trans people. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Like, by this logic, if you tell to a Christian that God isn't real, aren't you invalidating the Christian's existence? Aren't you erasing Christianity? I mean, if I were to bring you my grandmother, God rest her soul, who dedicated her entire life to following the teachings of Jesus, she fasted, she didn't have sex outside of marriage or before that, right? Like her entire life was dedicated to prayer. I mean, telling her that God isn't real is an offense. Now, imagine if Twitter would ban anyone that just disagrees with the concept of God because, well, you're bullying Christians. We're literally at this, but it's on a different protected group, which is like fine, but either you protect all the groups or you don't protect any group. This is why Elon Musk said it the best. Like, what is free speech according to Elon Musk? And he said anything that is legal should be allowed on Twitter. If people believe that something is harmful, then make it into legislation. If people literally believe that something is so harmful that it shouldn't be online, make it into a legislation, pass it into law, and then he will ban it. That makes sense, doesn't it? But again, you know, like the reason I'm getting so worked up about it is because everyone knew that this is happening. Everyone talked about it. But they publicly said that no, it's not happening. They gaslit. Even though the price of gas right now is astonishing, they still manage to afford it so that they can gaslit you. But behind closed doors, they're like literally all the criticisms that have been leveled against Twitter were true. And by the way, it gets even worse. Like, let's keep watching.
So it does serve right. It's true. There is bias. That is what it is today.
Why?
They're both losing followers because left is leaving and the right is coming back on the platform. The right that kind of denounced the platform, they were like, hey, you know what, we're going to come back because Elon's coming in. And they're basically, Elon's a new Trump. Because they had a leader, they feel more confident. Because how do people join platforms? They join because they want to look up to a leader who will protect them and give them safety. They didn't feel safe on the platform at that point, but now they feel safer now that Elon's there.
And it's really not about safety. I know why people rejoin Twitter is because of free speech. Like, they want to have fun. You can't have fun with the gatekeepers looming over the platform and deciding what jokes you're allowed to say, what political opinions you're allowed to have, what information you're allowed to transmit. It feels like playing football with mommy there. No one wants to play football with mommy there. People want to trash talk. People want to say something edgy. You can't do that if mommy is there. You can't watch Beavis and Butthead if mommy is there. We just wish that mommy gets a fucking job and leaves for a change and allow us some privacy.
Well, we'll feel less safer. It's just like a spectrum. Like, I feel like when, I don't know if the two parties can truly coexist on one platform.
I do not feel unsafe if left-leaning commies are sharing the same platform that I'm sharing. They do not feel unsafe either. The thing is that they don't like when their ideas are being questioned. Especially when someone that's liberty-oriented and freedom-oriented questions their authoritarian bullshit. Because they don't have answers for the questions. So that is why they feel unsafe. It's not like someone is gonna get them. It's not like look at Anita Sarkeesian, you know, like the patient zero, as you say. That created this whole thing, which like, oh, women are not safe online. We need trust and safety councils, blah, blah, blah. Zoe Quinn. Nothing happened to them. Nothing was going to happen to them. Literally jack shit. No one is unsafe. I mean, if Twitter legitimately was unsafe, why would anyone use it? If it's not unsafe, it would be shut down. Do you know what's unsafe? Radioactive beauty products. They're banned. Why are they banned? Because they're literally unsafe.
Where everyone can debate.
What do your colleagues say about it?
They hate it. Oh my god, I'm at least like okay with it, but some of my colleagues are like super left.
What do they say?
They're like, this will be my last day if it happens. So,
Has much changed since like Elon's coming out?
a lot of change. a lot has changed. Like we're stress eating a lot. Like we're all like worried for our jobs.
Why are you guys so worried though?
You know, our jobs are at stake. He's a capitalist. If we weren't really operating like capitalists more, we were very socialist. Like we're.
Now I gotta say, I understand where they're coming from. You know, even if it wasn't Twitter and there's new management and like some company buys your company, everyone is going to be worried about their jobs. Like, I get that, but listen to what he's about to say now.
We're all like communist. Like I started working for Twitter and became left. I think it's just like the environment. Like you're there, you become like commie. They call it California for some reason. Elon makes some good points. Sometimes I'm slowly starting to buy his side a little bit.
Oh, I bet he's going to have a tough day at work tomorrow after this expose came out. But he's going to have a difficult time locking eyes with his commie buddies. Oh, you don't hate Elon. You know, like, this is something that I noticed with the left, right? It's not that you're allowed to be neutral or a bad... No, you have to hate them, right? You need to be on the right side of history. You need to hate Elon Musk. You can't say that, oh, I agree with him. Holy shit, like, oh, if you say that, you're out. And by the way, like, the very fact that commies are at Twitter, for an Eastern European like myself, like moi, commies and Nazis are literally the same shit due to the history of my country. Just read it up. It's not just my country, Poland as well. Eastern Europe, in a nutshell. Right? Like, it's so fucking offensive for us. But okay, you know, like, whatever. It's just a by the by.
We tried our best, but
How so?
we did all we could to like revolt against it. A lot of employees revolted against it, but at the end of the day, board of directors had to say, and then they acted on their best interest because they didn't want to get sued. Because if they get sued, their families are at stake. They're just always looking out for themselves at the end of the day, right? And they looked out for themselves as they should, their families. And they made the choice that they had to make. They literally couldn't make any other choice. So if they had denied the offer from Elon, shareholders could have filed a lawsuit against them and depleted them of their wealth personally. Like whatever they wealth they had, so their quality of life decreases.
If this guy is a commie, well, he's probably the most based commie that I have ever heard. Granted, the bar is very low. I mean, the bar is insanely low, so it's not that hard to surpass it. But he does seem to understand the world, at least. He does make sense of what's happening. He doesn't live in a fantasy la-la land. I don't know if other commies are like this behind closed doors and they actually get what's going on, but like, at least with this guy, he hasn't said anything that he personally pisses me off. Like, he's just describing what's happening at Twitter, and that pisses me off. But him as a person, by the way, out of all the people that Project Veritas has interviewed up until now, I can say, you know what, like, he sounds like a decent guy, but, like, he's surrounded by assholes.
I basically went and worked like 4 hours a week last quarter. That's just how it works in our company.
Yeah.
But I start putting in more hours because I want to get promoted.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of inflation, my buying power has like reduced a little bit. And I want to get promoted so that like they inflate your salary a little, like they increase your salary by a lot when you get promoted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, let me just try for it right now.
Wow, 4 hours a day. That sounds like a very tiring job. How do they do it? I'm really curious, like, what his salary is. 4 hours a day. I like the fact that they're complaining about inflation, though. I mean, the people at Twitter have been pivotal at creating inflation. Do you remember when, if you complained about the lockdowns, you would get banned from social media or you'd get suppressed? What happened during the lockdowns? Oh, that's right. Billions of dollars were printed, right? Over 95% of the donations that Twitter gave for the elections were to the Democrats. They did their utmost best in order to protect the US president as well as his party. And they're complaining about inflation. You did this. Like, no, seriously, they did this. Lockdowns were a democratic thing. Like, they supported them like a motherfucker. Printing money. Who did that? If it was up to them, they would even print more. They would even print more. Build back better. Oh, build back better. The infrastructure. Oh. Yeah. And now they're like, oh, well, my salary. My.
How would you describe communism besides Twitter?
Not just like a phrase, but essentially like everyone gets to do whatever they want. And no one really cares about like OPEX, like capitalists will care about numbers, they'll care about like how to make the business more efficient. But in Twitter, it's like mental health is everything. Like if you're not feeling it, you can take a few days off. People have taken months off, they'll come back, but you always like do your best at any time.
This right here is the go woke get broke bullshit. This, I've been talking about this on my channel for years. This is the get woke go broke. It's not that like the woke culture can't create interesting entertainment or it would be capable of creating good the people that are woke cannot create shit. Like, look at it. They don't care about the business. They care about their ideology first and foremost. They're not capitalists. They do not look at the business as a symbiotic relationship. They look at the business as a husk that they can wear in order to push their message. And you hire these people. You hire them in comic books. You hire them in movies. You hire them in video games. And then you wonder, it's like, why is the product not selling? And I'll tell you this, like right-wingers, yeah, sure, they don't boycott, they don't organize, they don't do jack shit. But they're all subscribing, aren't they? You do not think that Netflix would have liked carrying on doing what it was doing up until now? But like a lot of people just terminated their accounts. They stopped watching because everything that they put up is bullshit. I mean, just think out of the top of my head, Santa Inc. Like a show which is so disgustingly disparaging towards Christmas. Like every entertainment in human history like looks at Christmas as a nice thing, as a holiday, as a get together with family. Only woke people can shit on that. And you know what people do when they see that? They just disgustingly just unsubscribe. Like, fine. They don't cause a ruckus about it. They don't make a fuss. They just unsubscribe. They stop watching. They downvote it. They unsubscribe. And then your business starts suffering. I guess, like, it's not as immediate, like when you piss off the left with Dave Chappelle, where you have a person that tried to assassinate him on stage, running at him with a knife. It's not as immediate like that. It's gradual. It's over time. But we do see a shift. Like, people are so fed up with this way of thinking. And it causes harm to the business. But at this point, like, I don't even know if the business can be saved, honestly. Like, if you hire people that are interested in empire building within your company and they don't care about your profits, like, imagine this. Imagine if you have a small kiosk where you're selling coffee to people and you hire this person that's a Christian, like complete wacko, like fanatical Christian, and they don't care whether or not they sell coffee. They only care about whether or not they can convert the customer that comes in. How long until that business would just go bankrupt? How long? It's not even the ideology that's the problem, but the problem is like when you hire people that do not care about the business at all, and not to mention like, oh, mental health. Like, how do you even objectively prove that a person has a mental... Do you know how many people fake injuries in order to get out of work? Like, you have an entire industry of private eyes that follow people who are saying, oh, my back hurts, I broke my back, I need money, I can't go to work. And they follow them and they find out that they're lying. Do you know how easy it is to lie about like the mental health, the mental space, especially when you're like allowing people to just take time off whenever they want? Like, how can you prove that the person literally does have a problem or not? You can't, right? And not to mention, like, why is that other businesses don't have the same issue like Twitter is having? Like, at least in Romania, I've worked at so many places. I've never heard, like, doctors at the hospital go like, oh, I'm not in the correct headspace. Do you know how difficult it is to see patients dying, to see kids with leukemia? Like, if that was the case, all the doctors should just get out of work. And you'd have like one, maybe two doctors holding the rest of the hospital, which would cause even more mental strain. Imagine if soldiers could pull that shit, or firefighters, or police officers. How do they deal with it? Man, like, this really pissed me off. Tomorrow, there's another video. We'll talk about that. It's getting even more interesting. And do let me know what you think in the comment section, and if you like it, give us super thanks. And by the way, I love the fact that they can't ban these videos now on Twitter because of the whole Elon Musk thing. Everyone is looking at Twitter. They would love, like, they would absolutely love if they could ban this. But they can't. And Elon Musk tweeted about it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.